So if you guys grab your book, please, and put it, go to chapter 21. Like I said, chapter 21 is going to talk about garbage disposal and dishwasher. I want to remind you that two things, very important things. You guys have wired the power last week and you finished it. And what did we say about the garbage disposal, Jamie? We said dedicated circuit for the garbage disposal and dedicated circuit for the dishwasher. Based on the amp size, we could have put them on one circuit. Not a good idea though. Code-wise, you can't feed these two from the two small appliances circuit in the kitchen. You cannot. So you have to bring either one circuit to feed both of them if they can fit, or you can have to give them a dedicated circuit each. We decided to give them a dedicated circuit because that's the best design. Can I have everybody got that one, guys? So that's basically what we're going to talk about. So food. Garbage disposal and dishwasher, we brought a dedicated circuit. Talk a little bit about continuous feed and patch feed for how to use the garbage disposal, not a big deal. What I want to emphasize here is two ways of connecting these appliances. Either direct connection, they call it hardwire. You can hardwire them, or you can cord and plug them. I want to remind you, so either way it works, but remember, these are motors. So when you feed motors, Jeff, what do you need? You need a disconnect, right? You need to be able to disconnect. So if you don't cord and plug them, then you need to have a disconnect for them. So that's the only thing you have to remember. If you decided to hardwire your dishwasher, typically they are plug in, you have to keep in mind that you have to provide a disconnect. And the disconnect for them could be, because of the amp is small and they're single phase, they're as simple as a snap switch right there. You bring the hot into the snap switch, and out to the snap switch into feed the disposal, and you just met the code. Can I have everybody thumbs up that we understand the difference between hard direct connection, need a snap switch for these appliances, single phase, plug them in, you do not need a snap switch for them. Cool? So that's basically the most important thing. They all come with overload, guys. Garbage disposal, all equipment come with an overload. So if you overload these equipment, it will trip and prevent you from energizing that piece of equipment for a while until it cools down and it comes back. That's overload. We talked about overload for motors, protect you from overloading the circuit. Means of disconnect. I can't emphasize disconnect. Every time you have an appliance, if I can get you guys to understand, every time to have an appliance or a machine or an equipment, in the back of your mind, I need to provide a disconnect. Disconnect could be as easy as snap switch for fraction horsepower motors and single phase motors, or circuit breaker within inside 50 feet, or it could be, as we move forward into commercial industrial building, NEMA heavy duty rated, horsepower rated disconnect switch on the wall. Can I have a thumbs up for these? Cool. So that's methods of grounding appliances. And it used to be in the past where you can use the grounded conductor to ground for dryers and ranges. The grounded conductor, the neutral, no longer applies. So as far as you guys are concerned, being designers moving forward, everything that you need to do now, every appliance, 99% of what you guys are going to be dealing with, it's going to be 3 hots for the 3-phase, sometimes neutral if you need neutral, and always a grounding conductor, equipment grounding conductor. So you always have to pull an equipment grounding conductor. So don't worry about the old days, how they did it. Understand significance of water temperature for dishwasher. That's just FYI only, for information, so you don't burn yourself, basically. Okay, so the most important thing I want you guys to highlight, not permitted. These are not permitted on the small appliances branch circuits in the kitchen that serves the kitchen. You can't plug in from the 220 amp branch circuit that feeds the kitchen. Remember, dedicated small appliances, they're not permitted. So if they're not permitted, then you have to provide a circuit, dedicated circuit. The disposal, here's a typical disposal for these guys. Garbage disposal 7.2. What we provide for it is a 20 amp. Let's do the math on that. Let's just do the math and give you an idea how we do this. So if the full load amp, say from the NDC, let's assume this is from the NDC. If you multiply this one, guys, by 2.5, I need somebody to do 7.2 times 2.5. Zach, my friend, you're good with calculating. 18. What do you go to the next standard? What do you get next standard up? Circuit breaker. 20 amp. can you see why they went to 20 amps? Everybody can see why they went to 20 amps? So the full load, we did that one, you guys did it with me. The full load current from the NEC code book multiplied by 2.5 give you the rating of the overcome protection device, right? And that's how they came up with the 20 amp circuit. Since it's dwelling, guys, and the way they size, then the way they size the conductor, 1.25, multiply this by 1.25 and give me the answer, will you? 1.25, 7.2, 1.25, what do you get? 9 amps. Now, I could have gotten away with number 14, since it's dwelling and residential, all this stuff, guys. And a good idea is we went to what? Number 12. So we went with that one as 12, 2 to feed all this system. So what did we do? We took a 20 amp circuit and we fed our garbage disposal, and with what? With a 12 to AWG, a 12 to AWG ANAM cable. That's what we did. Everybody knows why we went for a 20 amp circuit for these appliances? Why we went for a 20 amp circuit for these appliances? Almost always, guys, it's a good, it's first code-wise, second, it's a very good idea if you have appliances to feed them from a dedicated circuit. Another thing being designer, guys, Zach, is reliability. One of them, Trap, do you want, if you want to put them in the same circuit, the two equipment in the same circuit, do you want, if a circuit breaker is to trip, to take 2 appliances for you? Now remember, we're designers. The code is the bare minimum. We're going to go higher than the code. Cool?
Why did you multiply 7.2 by 2.5?
Because when we size the overcurrent protection device, there are 4 overcurrent protection devices for motors that you can choose from. If you have a circuit breaker, the table will tell you have to multiply it by 2.5, 250%. If you have a fuse, 175. If you have non-time delay fuse, dual element, 175. Time delay fuse, 300. Inverse type, remember that table that we used last week? Inverse type, 800%. That's where that number came to be. Okay, so that's basically where we come up with 20 amp for this. Now, the second thing I want to highlight, they have a wall switch. They have a wall switch near the sink. Can I guys get you to a little bit to understand that one? They have a wall switch near the sink. I hope you guys did it. Jeff, I think you guys did that one. You put a wall switch for the garbage disposal. That wall switch has 2 functions. If you hardwire the equipment, it acts as your disconnect. And also your controller, turn it on and off. So 2 functions for the snap switch, typically with these. Either controller, turn it on and off, and also disconnect if it's hardwired. If it's plugged in, then what's the disconnect? The plug is going to be the disconnect. Can they have a thumbs up, Chad? We understand why this switch is? Okay. So that's basically what they have with this garbage disposal. Piece of cake, huh? Here's what how it looks like. So this is where we brought, guys, our 20 amp circuit here, 20 amp, and we brought our neutral here, and there are 2 functions for this boy in this case. Number 1, disconnect for the appliances, and number 2, a controller. Though this one, I think, I don't know how many of you see the cap, guys, that where you twist it, it actually activates it. Anybody has a garbage disposal where you twist with the lid and it activates, it starts it? You've seen them, yeah. Typically, a lot of them don't have this, but in this case, actually, this is my disconnect, and this one is my controller for this boy. But if it doesn't have that lid that you twist to activate it, then what would be the controller too? The disconnect can act as, in this case, as your controller. Overload. You have an overload for the equipment. Typically, don't they have put them somewhere here at the bottom where it trips, and you could reset them if you put a lot of bones in them, right? Or a spoon stuck in there. Okay. Any comments, guys? Any question about this one? That's how you guys wired it for me. Typically, they're plugged in. A lot of things they're plugged in, but hardwired is a good idea too. Can I have thumbs up, Chad? We got that? Cool. Awesome. So see how that's not hard. With dishwasher, the same thing. Here's my dishwasher, guys. Dishwasher is an appliances. If you do the same math on the dishwasher being an appliances, for appliances, guys, you guys remember when we highlighted for appliances, actually garbage disposal could apply the same rule. Article 422 talks about appliances, and it says if the full load current is 13 or less for an appliances, you have to provide a 20 amp circuit for it. 20 amp circuit for it. So that's where the 20 amp circuit came to be. 20 amp circuit, and the same, you can apply the same rule also for the garbage disposal. 13 amps or less for an appliances from Article 422, you have to provide a 20 amp circuit. Otherwise, you start multiplying by 1.5 for overconduction device. Okay, so that's basically why we came up the same thing. You came up with a 20 amp circuit here, and your conductors will be 12, 2, and you have a plug in here. You plugged it and you tie the machine. So here's what. So in this case, I have my overcurrent protection device. I have my conductor, and I have my disconnect. Where are the controller for the garbage for the dishwasher? Built-in. Built-in controller. Do I have to worry about that one? No. Here's my controller, built-in, disconnect to disconnect it, cable to wiring, and overconduction device. Can I have a thumbs up, guys? You are designers. That's exactly what we do. You disconnect. Yep. The plug acts your disconnect, right? Unplug it. Typically, these appliances, a lot of appliances guys plug in because then you can remove them for service. I dare to say that probably 80% of their problems is control problem when they have problem and mechanical problems. Not a whole lot of electrical. You bring 120 to it, there's not a whole lot to it. The most of the stuff is a control system fails on you. Okay, can I have thumbs up, Chad? We got that. See how easy that one is.
Was that a code change in the last like 10 years?
What's that?
Just what you were talking about, like disconnect.
No, all appliances. No, all appliances.
There's a lot of dishwashers that I've encountered that don't have disconnects that are hardwired.
Do you have a switch to nothing? Oh boy, I would dare to say since '96 at least. Yeah, I would dare to say appliances need a disconnect. Are they within 50 feet of within sight of a circuit breaker? They're hardwired and no disconnect.
Main floor panels in the basement. I just ran into a lot of them. Actually, I haven't ran into very many that were cord plugged. So.
Mine is cord plugged at home. Yeah.
I'm not saying that's right.
You need to be able to disconnect it in the open position. You need to be able to disconnect in the open position. A couple of other things, guys. Dishwashers and motors. This is just a couple of things. The dishwasher, as you know, there's a heater and as well as there's a motor to rotate things. So these are an appliance. The manufacturer will come up with a nameplate amp for them because there's a heater and there's a motor with them, and we take that nameplate and we apply the rules for it. So a couple of things about the temperature. This is where they take the water and the hot water and they raise it up to 140-degree temperature so they can wash your water, but that's FYI only. When it comes to appliances, here's what the code says. The appliances says always go by what the manufacturers tell you. If you don't have any idea, you go to Article 422. It tells you need an overconduction device based on the 13 amps or less, 20 amp, more than that, 150. You need a disconnect for the appliances, and you need to size the conductors typically for a continuous load for these, 1.25. But always follow what the manufacturers tell you guys in terms of rating of the branch circuit. If they tell you they need a 50 amp branch circuit for appliances commercial, you have to put a 50 amp. Okay. You can have direct connection, as I said, is also called the hardwire, but be aware that you have to provide some type of a disconnect for your equipment. So that's in terms of overload. We talk about all these equipment have to have an integral part of overload, guys, to protect them from being overloaded and burn the equipment. And they have to have the appliances have a means of a disconnect. We talked about this one. Grounding, all what you need to remember is when you ground an equipment, guys, you're going to ground it. Each one of these appliances have to have an equipment grounding conductor. So let's talk about, here's my 20 amp circuit. Here's my appliances here, dishwasher, let's say hardwire. You're going to bring here a conductor. This will be my ground. And I need to bring also a neutral. Here's my neutral. So the grounding conductor, typically this will be number 12 since you're wiring with cable. And these also will be number 12. Done. With every piece of equipment, you have to provide an equipment grounding conductor. Can I have thumbs up, Chad? Got that one? Cool. So you guys are good. Portable dishwasher. Anybody have seen a portable dishwasher? Portable dishwasher. That's kind of an interesting. Not recently when we were young, and so yeah, you can have a portable dishwasher. These are guys, then they will be plugged in a 15 or 20 amp circuit. So 3-wire plug, and you plug it in. One way you plug it into any receptacle closer to the sink, and you bring the water to it. We don't do a whole lot of design for this. Water temperature. This is FYI only when you guys read. This is the temperature that they use to wash your dishes and kill germs and all the stuff. And to post the temperature from this value into this value, 120, what do they use? A water heater. All these are inside the dishwasher, careless about it. We provide the 20 amp circuit based on the size, and everything will happen inside this equipment. Any question, guys, about that one? So that's basically what this chapter is. Let me see if I can get not a whole lot to it. Okay. All right. So here's what we talked about, guys. Your garbage disposal being a disconnect. Where's Jeff? Jeff, go to 422.33a. Appliances must come with a cord, be marked as suitable for flexible cord connection. See how the grounding wire is come as part of it. Also, flexible cords, they have a limitation no longer than 3 feet. Can you guys see that? There's limitation on the length of the flexible cord, not less than 18 inches, not more than 3 feet. They don't want it to be hanging in there, and they don't want it to be too short where you can't unplug it. But that comes with the manufacturer. We don't do that a whole lot with it. Branch circuit coming to a receptacle. Sometimes we fuse the receptacle. Zach, my friend, to fuse it. When we size the conductors, we size it based on 125%. I showed you guys how to size that one. Any comments, any questions for that? Comments, questions? Here's where you hardwire that boy. Same thing, hardwired. This one is, they call it control switch, actuated by twisting the drain lid. So you don't need a, in this case, you don't need a switch to control it, but you still need a plug or a switch as a disconnect. Okay. Sometimes they have a system like this, guys, where you, in order, you still need it. Remember, you still need a disconnect for this. But what they do is they have a flow switch. How many of you guys, everybody knows how to use the garbage disposal. You have to put the water on, otherwise you burn the garbage disposal if you don't put water on it as it goes and grind, based on the the manufacturer instructions. So to prevent you from activating this appliances, this is preview for commercial. What they do is they have a flow switch here, and the flow switch is mechanically actuated switch. As the water goes through the pipe, you put it in the pipe, it will close the contact right here. Basically, the equipment is not running yet. It's just closing a contact. You still have to come over here and twist the lid in order for this appliances to work. What this will prevent you from working, energizing, activating the appliances without the water going through it. Can I have thumbs up, Chad? We know how this will prep you into how to do control. So that's safety. So you can't basically run it unless the water's running. Cool. Anybody have installed any of these, Darren, Jeff? With a tiny little flow switch that controls it. Okay. So that's basically what we're up to. All right. So that's all we have, guys, in terms of the garbage disposal. Any comments? Any questions? Any comments? Any questions? Any comments? Any questions? Okay, so that's, if you guys move with me, and these are short chapters, so if you move with me to chapter 22, guys, chapter 22 talk about special outlet for bathroom ceilings, heat, vent, attic, and hydromassage top. Let me summarize this with a few things before we even go there. A couple of things in the bathroom. Jamie, what do I need by code in the bathroom? I need one GFCI receptacle fed from what? A 20 amp dedicated circuit. So done. Here's a bathroom. So that's my bathroom. One 20 amp circuit feeding at least one receptacle GFCI within 3 feet of the sink. Can I have thumbs up there? That's a requirement. Okay, now that's just the bathroom. How about the bathroom receptacle? How about the bathroom light? two options for the bathroom light. You can feed the bathroom light directly from that 20 amp circuit, except there and everything, all the wiring is going to be number what? 12 now, right? Going to the switches, and that's okay, check done. Or you can feed the lighting in the bathroom from another circuit in the area. That's what I want you guys to do for our project. If you're only having a lighting fixture there, I want you to feed it from the lighting in the area. Now the exhaust fan, the same thing. You can feed the exhaust fan from the 20 amp dedicated circuit. If it's a big combo like the one that you're going to be looking at, this one more than an exhaust fan. It heats, it gives you light, and it gives you also it exhausts, it heats, and it gives you light. That's a combo. This one will need what? A dedicated circuit, a dedicated 20 amp circuit. Can I have a thumbs up, Chad? We understand that one? So for this big combo here, I need a dedicated circuit. So I have a dedicated circuit here. I have a fan, also typically dedicated circuit. Hydromassage bathtub, dedicated circuit. And I have an outlet, dedicated circuit. So that's basically what we're doing here. One of these dedicated circuits, 20 amp. So I have 20 amp that feed the outlet in the bathroom, another 20 amp that feed the light, vent, heat combo. You're going to look at that fixture. It's a fixture. And another one fan, an attic fan, typically feed it from a 20 amp circuit, though you can feed it from the surrounding if it's not big. And definitely the hydromassage bathtub, you need a 20 amp circuit dedicated to the hydromassage bathtub, feeding a GFCI plugged in. Can I have thumbs up? How many, in this case, how many 20 amp circuit do I need based on the code? 4 20 amp circuit for these locations. Cool? With a 20 amp circuit goes 12-2, right? 12-2 conductor. Okay, so that's basically what we're going to be doing. A few things about operation and control of this special fixture that they call a heat vent light fixture. You can look at this in a second here. Operation and control of exhaust fans. If you have an exhaust fan, you guys have an exhaust fan in the laundry room. How are you going to operate this? We provided a 20 amp circuit to our exhaust fan in the laundry room. This one in the attic, no difference. And how do you want to operate it though? So provide 20 amp circuit, right? And then how are you going to operate this equipment? You're going to operate it based on temperature. You're going to have so many ways of controlling it. The rise of temperature goes certain limit, basically temperature control. And it starts, thermostat. So bunch of other ways we'll talk about how to work it because the last thing you want to do is just turn it on and off yourself. So we'll talk about the exhaust fan control. Humidity problems. That's why we have a lot of these exhaust fans, guys, the humidity stats and so forth. You put a humidity stat, so if your humidity go above certain value, you start your humidity stat and you reduce your humidity. Brand circuit for the hydromassage bathtub. This is very easy. Here's how we do that one. You take a 20 amp circuit and you bring it into a GFCI receptacle. And here's your motor for the hydromassage bathtub, and you plug it into that GFCI receptacle. Done deal. So the plug itself for the hydromassage bathtub is going to be what? The disconnect. The overconduction device is already 20 amp by code. This conductor typically 12-2. And done. All the control, what happened to the control? The control is all built into the hydromassage bathtub motor. Comes with all these push buttons that you start and stop. Can I have thumbs up, Chad? We understand how this hydromassage bathtub goes. 20 amp circuit, 12-2 to a GFCI receptacle plugged in. The only thing that they say, all GFCI guys right now as of 2011, this has been before even 2011, they have to be readily accessible. That's why when we have a hydromassage bathtub, we don't put the GFCI right underneath the hydromassage bathtub, right? Why? Because my wife does not know how to use screwdrivers to take the panel off and get access and push that button. So the smarter than Chad, they put a receptacle, regular receptacle down there under the hydromassage bathtub and a trip face. It looks like a receptacle, but it's really just a trip face, GFCI electronic trip face. You put it in the wall. So that's very typical with hydromassage bathtub. Can I have thumbs up, Chad? Okay. That's basically, go ahead.
For that, would you need another one because most of them come with heaters?
One for the heater. I thought it comes as all one big combo and plugged in. Is the heater comes separate? Separate. You have
It's
to
in there, but it's a separate.
separate circuit. 1 amp circuit. Yeah, a closer water. GFCI, and the GFCI is going to be on the wall. Absolutely. So that's basically fixed electric space. We have a whole article, guys, that talks about fixed electric space heating. I want to summarize this article for you in two things. When it comes to heat, very simple, two things. If you take the full load current of the heater, multiply it by 1.25, and from here you can size over current protection device and also conductors. Done. That's what this article summarizes as far as we're concerned, right? Control, typically they're built-in control. They're built-in control with these equipments. Here's where it says why we multiply by 1.25, because it's continuous load, right? That's exactly what we summarize here. It's a continuous load, and since it's continuous load, we size it based on 1.25. Can I have thumbs up, guys, for the heater? That's for my heater. Okay, here's the combo, though. So this is a combo. Since this is a combo, guys, here's what, Zach, here's what the manufacturer will tell you. When you buy this, they will tell you from the product, provide a 20 amp circuit with 12-2 fed to it. Done. When you have a combo like this, guys, anybody have seen this? Jeff, you said you have seen them, right? And you have, so look what this has. It has a fan. It has also a heater, and it has a lamp, a regular lamp, and a night lamp. So if you have little kids, you appreciate what a night lamp is. You leave the light in the bathroom on for the kids so they don't do it in the closet. You know. So that's what this combo is. Everybody can I have thumbs up, guys? We know that. So with this, so I have one equipment here, 2, 3, 4, and everybody knows why I have 4 receptacles here now. I have 4 switches. Everybody knows why I have 4 switches. I can control the exhaust fan turning on by itself, or I can put the heater and the exhaust fan, or I can put the lamp, the regular lamp, or I can put the night lamp. There are 2 lamps, one night lamp, one regular lamp, separately. So separate control. So who cares? When you come over here, guys, overcome protection device 20 amps, and this conductor is going to be what? 12-2 NMD cable coming to this equipment, right? 12-2 based on the manufacturers. If you were to size this, which we typically don't size, the manufacturer will tell you provide a 20 amp dedicated circuit for this appliances. Done. That's a fan combo. You guys don't have this one in our project. I don't know how you design it. Did you guys put a separate fan? A fan or light combo? This is a fan light heat combo. Yeah. Okay. If you put a fan light combo, you can feed the fan light combo from the 20 amp dedicated circuit to the bathroom, or you can bring a separate circuit to it. So in this case, because it has more than light and an exhaust fan, it has heat in it. Heat takes a lot of juice. So then this is how you design it. Now, can you guys look at this and tell me how many wires I need to make the system work? I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 wires, 5 conductors. Now, how would you get a 5 conductor NM cable? Plus the ground. There is no 5 conductor NM cable. So how would you wire this? From here, it's a 12-2 NM cable, no problem. The rest of them, you're going to use typically flex. So here, what would you do? You put a metallic box here, and would you use a flexible metallic conduit from here? So here's where you get the flex from here all the way, right? So you flex them, put them in a flexible metallic conduit, and you pull your conduct wires now into that fixture, and you pull your 5 conductors. Can you have thumbs up? We understand why we do this, flex it, because you can't find a conductor that an NM cable. This will be 12-5. They don't make 12-5. They make 12-3 and 12-4, not 5, up to my knowledge anyway. You can MC, I believe MC, they can make them bigger than that, but they're not commercially available to. You have to special order. Any questions about this fixture? So if you have this fixture, what's the solution for you as a designer? A 20 amp dedicated circuit. Always. Can I have thumbs up, guys? We understand that. So, so where are the disconnects for the equipment? So I need a controller. First of all, where are the controller for the equipment? Here. Where are the disconnects? These switches are your disconnect. The exhaust fan, where's the disconnect for your exhaust fan? The same switch that turns it on and off is its disconnect. The code allows you to use the snap switch as your disconnect. Any comments, any questions, guys, about that? So that's basically the equipment. This is just explaining why do we have this. So we have one switch for the heater, one for the light, and one for the exhaust fan, and one for the night light, right? Everybody knows that? Four switches, right? Cool. Okay, so that's my 4 switches. I can't emphasize, look at this here. It says per manufacturer recommendations. That's directly for the manufacturer. 20 amp circuit, switch them this way. Could I have put all of them in a 20 amp circuit, in a 20 amp snap switch? Yes. Would it be a good idea? No, because you can start the heater in the summer. So, okay. This is just how it works, guys. They have a damper inside. So if the exhaust fan is on by itself, the damper will open and you exhaust all these fumes and all these bad stuff from the bathroom to the outside. If the exhaust fan is on and the heater is on, you close the damper and you start dumping all these hot air down to heat you. That's how it works, by interlocking inside the equipment. The rest are piece of cake. The night light just on off by itself. The real light is on off by itself. Can I have thumbs up, guys? We know how it works. The only difference is the damper. The damper opens only if you have the exhaust fan by itself on, because you want to exhaust the stuff out. If you put the heater, the damper will not open by design. Everybody knows what a damper is, that one that opens that little to exhaust the air out, right? So the damper would not open. So that's basically because you want to pull the air in or push the air out. Always, guys, when it comes to equipment, always, I can't emphasize the word, always manufacturer's literature. You're going to find, guys, as we move on, you're going to have a chandelier that's probably 30 amp chandelier by itself. So am I going to put it in a shared circuit with others? No. That's when it becomes bigger equipment. You start looking at what the manufacturers are specifying for it. The code can get you so far, and then it becomes special equipment. You always follow the manufacturer's specification. So this is for the exhaust fan. So we got away from the bathroom. Now we have our exhaust fan. Anybody has an exhaust fan in the attic? Okay, the attic gets so hot, guys, especially here and elsewhere. So what they do, if the temperature goes higher than a certain value, it starts moving the air, and it moves the air. I think we have, here we go. So you have an exhaust fan that moves the air right from one side to the other through all these louvers, right? Just move the air, so why do we care? It saves energy for you. It saves in your heating, cooling in this case. It saves your cooling. So what do I need to do with this one? You bring a dedicated circuit, typically for that baby, and you wire it. All the control will be a thermostat that controls it. And so if the temperature goes higher than a certain value, it will kick in. So if the temperature goes 90 or 100, it starts moving the air, and it continuously moving the air until it goes below a certain temperature, and it stops by itself. Any comments, guys, about this exhaust fan? So typically, dedicated circuit to it with a switch next to it. You bring a dedicated circuit switch next to it, a snap switch as you disconnect, hardwire it with a controller. Or the controller itself, the thermostat has an off position that qualifies it as a disconnect. An off position that qualifies as a disconnect. What's the job of the exhaust fan? You're going to hear this one, guys. SFM, cubic foot per minute. Cubic foot per minute, you're going to hear this a lot when we do commercial. Cubic foot per minute, that's for our friends, the mechanical guys, when they size the air handling unit. They talk about cubic foot per minute. How many cubic feet of air you want to exhaust out of the building or going to bring into the building? Air exchange and all this good stuff. So determine the minimum amount in the attic is the magic number that you're going to take. Divide the CFM by 750. Well, when you guys go, there's recommendation. If your attic this amount, this is the size of the fan you want. But the mechanical engineers have tons and tons of formulas like we do that they size. If your building is that size and how many people inside the building and what type of installation. Here's the air handling movement that you need to do. So we don't do much of it. Okay, so the temperature goes higher, start pulling the air in away from, moving the air out, circulating the air. So we need an overload, guys. This will have a built-in overload on them to protect them from overheating and burning. These are all by UL standard, as we know. And when we size overcontraction devices, this is what we went last week. We were sizing like any other motor, guys. When you size overcontraction device, you're going to go to table 430.52. On Thursday, I will be doing review for you for the test. We're going to use this table. And in this case, they're using dual element time delay fuse ZAC. And this is the multiplier that they use for this guy, 175. So if you have a 10 amps, it becomes 175, 1.75. They'll get you 17.5. What's your next standard then? 20 amp. Any question, guys, about these? Exactly like any other motor. Exactly like any other motor. This talks about humidity. When it comes to humidity and all this good stuff, typically, guys, we don't get involved in all this. Your thermostat, your humidistat, and dehumidifier and all this stuff are part of your heating, cooling system and ventilation that's installed in a commercial building or residential by the mechanical contractors. Our job is to power these equipment, and sometimes we get involved in controlling them, only if you're working for a mechanical contractor. So as we know, if there's too much humidity, the problem is the mold growth. And what happens when you have mold growth? You will get sick. So you have a humidistat with relative humidity that controls the humidity and exhaust and add more water, remove more water from the air. Dehumidifier or humidifier. Dehumidifier, remove the air. Humidifier, add the air in the winter. Don't we add air in the winter? Right? Add the water to the air in the winter, and remove water from the air in the summer. Most of air furnaces have a built-in humidifier inside it. Okay, so that's basically adjustment values that you have to put on them. As far as we are concerned, not a whole lot that we can do other than wiring these equipments. Appliances need a disconnect, guys. Must be disconnected before cleaning. All these appliances have to have a disconnect. Why do we have a disconnect? And we keep talking about the disconnect, guys. Because of this, maintenance, repair, adjustment. We're just tired of cutting people's fingers when they're working on these fans because the fans kicked in. So the thermostat typically has an off position. You put it in off position, you go remove that cable, or you can have a snap switch right next to it. Fixed portable. And here's did you look at these 422.35? That's where it outlines different ways all the way, guys, of having a disconnect. If you go there, Jeff, it will tell you sometimes built-in controllers can have an off position, qualify off position though, qualify as a controller. Other times we have a snap switch. These are the cheap residential type snap switch like this. A third time have a circuit breaker within sight of the control of the fan is another disconnect. That's what we typically use for residential. Move on for commercial. And three-phase, we start throwing right next to the equipment, a disconnect like that boy there. Can I have thumbs up, Chad? We fully understand the importance of a disconnect. Or plug. Plug, especially in residential and single phase, plug works as a good disconnect. Okay, so that's basically. Now, any question, guys? To recoup what we've done in a bathroom, I need a 20 amp circuit to feed a 1 GFCI receptacle within 3 feet of a sink. From that one, I can feed the light if I have a light from it and a fan. I can feed the light and the fan in the bathroom, no problem. If I have a light fan heat combo, recommendation that I have to follow by manufacturers, a 20 amp circuit for this light fan combo like we did in this example. So I have two 20 amp circuits in the bathroom. One for the GFCI and one for the light heat fan combo. Can I have thumbs up, Chad, for that? Okay. So that's for the fan. Moving to the attic. The attic, if the owner or somebody decided to put a fan in the attic, no problem, a 20 amp circuit to the fan. It's going to have a thermostat there. The thermostat will have an off position in it. That's going to be your disconnect, and the thermostat will control the fan on and off based on the temperature. Or temperature control, basically, temperature control switch. That's for the exhaust fan. Now moving into a third part of this chapter is called the hydromassage bathtub. Anybody has a hydromassage bathtub? No? Here's how I'm going to summarize the hydromassage bathtub for you. By code, you need a 20 amp circuit, and you need a receptacle, GFCI, and then you plug it into your motor that moves the hydromassage bathtub. First of all, for those of you who don't know what the hydromassage bathtub, guys, permanently installed bathtub equipped with the following: circulating piping system, pump, and associated equipment. What does it do? It circulates and discharges the water upon each use. So designed to accept the water, circulate it, and discharge it. Give you the bubbles and all this good stuff, so it circulates the water. That's why we have a pump there. So accept, circulate, and discharge. Take the water, circulate it, and then discharge it up and down every time you use a hydromassage bathtub. Can I have thumbs up, Chad? Cool. Now this motor that works with it, you have to have a cord. That's where your disconnect comes to be, plugged into a cord. You have to have a GFCI receptacle by code because it's water, and you have to have a 20 amp dedicated circuit feeding it. Done. Really. And the GFCI have to be really accessible. That's why there are two options. Either you put the GFCI, they typically put a non-GFCI here and a trip face. Here's where the trip. So this is a regular GFCI, and this one will be a trip face. In a box, it's a face only. You bring in, out, no plugs to plug in. Looks like a GFCI, except no plugs. GFCI receptacle, except no plugs in it. Can't plug anything in it. So you bring it into the box. Out of the box, you go into the regular receptacle, and if there's any problem, leakage to ground, it will trip, and my wife will walk in here easily, readily accessible, and push the button. Any question, guys, about this hydromassage bathtub? Everybody's okay with that? We don't have it in our bathrooms that we have in the project, but that's how you do it. One last thing, guys, for hydromassage bathtub that you have to understand. If you have a motor, here's my motor here, you have to bond the mechanical equipment to the motor frame with number 8, I believe. Number 8. Can I have your attention, guys? When you have a hydromassage bathtub, one very, very interesting situation that you don't do elsewhere. That's in the that's when they test you guys on your master tool. Here's the motor sitting here, the frame of a motor. You're supposed to bring a number 8 copper insulated or bare conductor, and you tie it to the pipe system from one side and to the frame of the motor from the other side. They call it bonding conductor. You bond the mechanical equipment to the electrical equipment. That's required for hydromassage bathtub. Plus, also, you still need to bring an equipment grounding conductor, and you still need to bring, of course, a hot, and you still need to bring also a neutral. So that conductor here is in addition to number 12 that you brought as an equipment grounding conductor. Can I have a thumbs up, Chad, to understand how bonding is? You take the pipe, the mechanical, the water pipe, and tie it through a lug to the frame of the motor. That's really the whole, and of course you can't have any receptacles inside the bathtub, and anything that has to go inside the bathtub have to be listed equipment. If you have a button, they have to have to actuate things, either non-electrical or very safe listed controllers that they have on them. Any comments, guys? Any questions? Any comments? Any questions? So that's basically for the hydromassage bathtub. Let me quick take you into 22. There's a few things here. Okay, here's your exhaust fan, that boy. Talk about the exhaust fan lights. Here's the combo. We talked about these. Here's where exhaust fan in the attic can sit, guys. A couple of views, nice views. Here's your thermostat. Here's your off position here, where high, low. The off position could be your disconnect location, and on and low for the thermostat. Couple of thermostat. Here's what I want you guys to look at a little bit. These different type of control. If you can go to these, please. Um, I want to talk about these one for a little second here. Okay, now different options for control of exhaust fan. These are the options that you have, and you don't have to memorize them. Option number 1A, guys, is just a snap switch like the one on the wall. Right. Every time it's hot, I turn it on and continues on until I wake up from my nap and turn it off. That's not what you want to do. The second one, B, B is, if I remember that, B is a speed control switch that allows multiple infinite number of speeds. So speed control. So you can turn it on, but at 50%, 10% speed, 30 speed control, basically. You just turn it on. If it's too hot, you full speed. If it's really just about hot, so speed control. The way they do it is they cut the voltage, guys, for these universal motors. These are called universal motors. They cut the voltage by half. It gets you half the speed. Really not rocket science in it. C is a timer switch. You turn it on and set it up there for an hour, 2 hours, and it turn off by itself. Cool. So here's another option. So you went from a snap switch into a speed control into a timer switch. Can I have thumbs up, Chad? We understand the symbols that they use with them. Okay, number D, or letter D. Letter D is a humidity control switch. Senses moisture in the building and controls. So if the humidity goes above certain level or below a certain level, it turn on and off the equipment. So that's what you control this fan. F, look at F here. Now F, I have in my F high temperature. You have a high temperature sensor for F, high temperature sensor. For the fan, so it's sensor control. So F is going to be your sensor control. If you have G, it has a combination of high temperature, speed control, and H is high temperature and speed control. So temperature control, high temperature and speed control. If you go to G, it gives you a lot of other different. So H has a humidistat and thermostat, temperature and humidity, and selector switch, so you can select between the humidity and temperature. So if you're an exhaust based on humidity or temperature. So anyway, all these guys are options for you to control that thermostat. So please read through them. Typically, you have a high temperature on it, temperature control on these fans, and let it run based on the temperature that you set it at. Any comments, any questions? Any comments, any questions? Yes, sir.
So, on that one that we were doing earlier, that had the
Temperature control.
okay,
Yeah, we're going to have the exhaust fan that you guys are going to have, that you have in our lab. We're going to have a temperature control switch on it. So if the temperature goes above a certain value, say 95, 100, it starts exhausting. When the temperature goes below a certain value, it stops. So temperature control.
Is it like, you also said on there the notes of it, like the heat lamp cannot be on without the fan being on. So is there like a relay that?
Yes. Inside there's a control inside the heat fan cannot be on without the fan being on, because if you put the heater without moving the fan, what's going to happen to your fixture? You could burn. So the interlocking, inside the interlock them inside the fixture. Absolutely. Because the heat doesn't mean anything if that's about the combo, the device. If you turn the heater on, guys, and the fan is not on, so what they do is the fan, actually you turn the heater on, and in reality you turn the heater and the fan on because you want to heat and push the air down. When you turn the fan on, the heater will not go on, and that's all inside the control of that fixture. Good point. Any questions, guys, about these? Any questions? I'm going to show you a couple of, so these are how they do the control. Let's look at this is how you bring your wiring into a box controller and so forth, for example, build it. Here's my favorite. This happened to be a humidistat without a relay. They call it line humidistat or line temperature control. Very similar, guys. Do you guys see the disconnect? I told you they come with an off position that qualifies a disconnect. In this application, Darren, remember the heater, baseboard heater that you guys did in your project? That's exactly typically what you're going to do. Either have a box like this or built-in controller. Typically, they're built in right next to them, where you can have it on, off, and on off, and you can adjust it, the temperature. So that's basically built into the machine. Or you can have a thermostat, they call it line thermostat. First it has to have a switch, and then it has to go to a line thermostat. So that's where when the temperature goes high, it closes this, turn this fan on, right? When it goes lower than certain value, it opens it and turn it off. So that's called line control. The second way is called line humidistat. This is a low voltage humidistat. The only difference that they guys do is they have a relay. So this will be a class number 2 circuit, class 2 circuit, 24 volt, typically 24 volt relay with a thermostat 24 volt. Since that the temperature, exhaust, close this one, energize the relay. When the relay is energized, it shuts this contact, dry contact, shut it, close it, and this baby is spinning. The opposite is true when it calls for, when the heat goes lower than a certain value, it opens, it de-energizes this 24 volt coil. When it de-energizes it, look at this. This boy here, I'm sorry, the coil is right in here. It energizes the 24 coil. When it de-energizes it, opens this contact. Now this contact is open and your motor is not working. So, and you still have to have a disconnect here. Remember that disconnect that comes with it. All these are built in, guys, built in. Two ways. Either you can have a line thermostat where you bring the voltage directly to the thermostat or the temperature control, right? Or you can have a low voltage control. You can put the thermostat in any wall, pull a class 2, typically 18-2 wire or 16-2 wire, pull it all the way to the control low voltage side of the relay. All the rest of these, typically a 12-2 conductors. All this stuff is 12-2 conductors, right? All these are 12-2 or 12-3 in this case going there. So these are your two ways of having a humidistat control or temperature control. Any questions about this? In our project, my assumption, guys, is probably for the exhaust fan, we're going to have a temperature built in. When you asked me about the controller, I said it's going to have a built-in controller. We're assuming it's going to have a built-in controller with a disconnect right next to it, and it controls itself. For the baseboard heaters, they're also going to have built-in controller on the side. So all what you have to do is just provide a 20 amp circuit with 12-2 to it. Any comments, any questions? Any comments, any questions? Any comments, any questions? So that's basically what your controller is going to look like. Hydromassage bathtub. Let me try your method if it works on these here. Okay. Genius. Is that Andrew? Hydromassage bathtub, guys. It typically looks like this. You're going to have a 20 amp circuit here. 20 amp circuit. GFCI thread phase here, which is just have the GFCI in it. And come over here to a receptacle, tied to a receptacle, and these wires will be plugged into the receptacle. That's typically exactly what you're doing. And what do you bring here? You bring a 12-2 with a ground, of course. And then you have to grab a controller panel, and then you grab a bonding conductor from here, and you tie that bonding conductor to the frame, and that will be your number 8 CU copper conductor bonding. That's your bonding conductor. That's exactly how we do it. This is for hydromassage bathtub. Yeah. This is for the hydromassage bathtub. Absolutely. Any question, guys? See how easy that is? Now you guys are master electrician. No question asked. You can jump in and wire. Really not a whole lot to it. As I can't emphasize, Joe, as we move forward, when we have machines, guys, you're going to understand you need an overprotection device, a cable, right? You need some type of a protection if it's GFCI or not. And then you need a controller that you either provide the controller or the manufacturer will provide the controller. Mechanical equipment, guys, as we move forward, air handling unit, chillers, rooftop units, we don't even mess with the controller. It's all provided by the the manufacturers. We have no idea if they want a speed control on it, what type of control, so we end up only providing for mechanical equipment really this here, which is called an overcome protection device and a feeder, a disconnect tool. This will be your disconnect here. Typically, we provide a disconnect, but a lot of manufacturers start providing their own disconnect right next to the equipment. Any comments, any questions, guys, about these? Comments, questions? Hydromassage bathtub. That's all we have. 5 minutes break and we'll do some CAD.